morning, everyone. Welcome to the Connected BIM webinar series for reality capture. Thank you for joining me. My name is Damien Jovica, and I'll be presenting today's webinar. We're going to get into this webinar series called Connected BIM, and what we mean by this is BIM with the power of the cloud. We use cloud computing to make collaboration possible anytime, anywhere, and you also get data continuity throughout the life cycle of a project. Just give me a moment. Someone's something, I think. No, sorry, I'll continue on. Yeah, so for building design, Connected BIM makes it possible to capture existing information through scanning and point clouds. It's a solution that helps you collaborate across geo-dispersed teams. Connected BIM simulates early and often allowing the computer to act as a designer. And you can create immersive experience such as VR and interact with the building before it's built. And essentially, we're closing the gap between real site conditions and design intent, then transitioning design into construction with detailing and fabrication. So this is part one of a three-part Connected BIM webinar series, and today's webinar is going to be focused on reality capture. So Autodesk aim to simplify reality capture with their software called ReCap Pro. It makes it easier to process images from laser scans or drone capture into accurate 3D models. You can then import this reality data into your design tools. So this presentation is going to give you an overview of the process. In terms of how this scanned data interacts with other applications. So you import the scanned data into ReCap Pro and create ReCap Pro projects. On the right here, we've got popular Autodesk CAD applications, and at the bottom there, we've got Autodesk Navigator, which is a data aggregation tool amongst other things. So you import your CAD files into Navisworks, and you can then attach Navisworks NWD, actually not NWC, NWD files into ReCap Pro, or you can attach ReCap projects into Navisworks. So either or really, depending on what your preference is. And also you can import ReCap project files straight into your AutoCAD, Revit, Inventor, 3ds Max, and a bunch of other Autodesk applications as well. So that's the workflow in terms of how the scanned data interacts with Autodesk applications. All right, so this is what ReCap 360 Pro looks like when you first open it. You've got the updates, news, social media links as well. At the bottom, you can open the current project that you've been working on. At the top there, you can click the scan project, photo project. About 500 photos of a particular area you can upload to create those as an object file or a mesh for your modeling needs. I can do that with property or buildings, a car, anything, any product. I can stitch it together and turn it into a mesh model to see those in future designs. The buttons up top are to really open previous projects, import, etc. So what I'm going to do now is open my last project, an existing project, what I've been working on, and I'll go to the top view. So if you look at it, it's in color, and you can make out objects, but it's a little granular. So as I zoom in and navigate, it gets cleaner and cleaner, or more accurate, because it's a XYZ, each point's an XYZ reference. So you can see the quality of the laser scan. So if I go to the top view and show you the top view, I'm going to clean it up a bit. I can use window, I can use fence or plane. I'm going to use window now and select some regions. All right, so all you do is Windows select and you clip it. If you clip the inside, it gets removed. If you clip the outside, that gets removed. So I'm going to clip inside here. I'm just going to go ahead and start clipping around this scan and remove what I'm not interested in. Just give us a moment. So I'll just zoom in, I'll remove this last bit here. So I'm not deleting them, I'm just clipping them. I'm turning them off, and I'll repeat this until you get a nice clean area to work with. So if we look at what we have now, it's a nice clean area to work in, but I can do a lot more. So in this example, I'm going to zoom in and select the table. So I can use the window, plane, or fence. In this example, I'm going to use fence, and I'm going to use the fence tool to select that table. Once I've selected it, I can work with it. I can create a region, I can remove it. I can do with other objects such as grades or floors. Pretty much anything can be a scan region. If I look at some of the other options, at the top here, I can share. I can share it to my A360 account and give people anywhere in the world access to my scan data, and we can comment and share and view those. They can download those using in their own CAD system. So there's a lot of different ways. We can also do reports as well of the scans data. There's visual options here for RGB, intensity. I'm just going to get back to RGB. We can change lighting adjustments as well. Display points. We can scroll, right and left to increase performance, I suppose. This is a small scan. If you had a supermassive scan, you may want to, change the size. We can pan, tilt, zoom, fly, just like we would in Navisworks. If anyone's used Navisworks, you'll be familiar with those controls. We can search for some tags as well, such as ROD, 1 or 2. So you can search for those sort of things. So we can do project cleanup. I mean, before I did it all manually, but there's a project cleanup tool which can automate it. So maybe you're trying to remove something in your scan, such as smoke, shadow, birds flying through. So you can use this tool to clean it up and remove things from your scan region. And you just click the button and just scroll left and right. If you scroll right, it's more. If you want less, you go left. So you don't have to do all the cleanup manually, especially when you have a massive scan data set in the hundreds and you want to do some cleanup automation. If I go to the project Navigator and look at the layers, you'll see that I've got all my scan regions there. I've got my scans. And so if I look at some of my existing scan regions, there's that table. It's in a cyan layer. I can turn it off and you'll see it disappear. So when I change from a 3D visual view to a bubble view, that's what those disco balls are, and they're scattered throughout the scan. I can change the size of those, want to make those obvious, and I can turn these things on and off. Before I've gone ahead and created a region called floor and made it blue, and I can turn that off. A bit spooky now with no floor, but it just shows you what you can do. I can turn that on and off anytime. So it's a real cool way of selecting objects and turning those objects on and off for clarity or design purposes. So what I'll do now is I'll create a new scan region, and I'll call it wall and leave it green, and I'll just select that and go back to the fence, and I'll select plane, and I'm going to select different points on the wall, all different sections of the wall. And what I'm doing is telling ReCap to identify these points as a common plane. And once I've done that, I'll click a few at the top, and with the last one, I'll double click it, and you'll see that it's highlighted, and that highlight is how I can tell I've got everything that I wanted to grab in this particular scan region. And once I've done that, it's now the wall scan region. It's gone green, and you can see now that I can turn the wall on and off, and the wall's gone. This allows you to maybe even group multiple walls. So, or doors. In this scenario of a plant, columns, safety cages, ladders, pumps. You can even color code certain lines if you'd like to. It all depends on how you want us to proceed as far as breaking up your scans for someone or some team to use it in their new design to create more efficiencies or more accuracies in those designs. So I'll turn the table back on as well. So you can see it's pretty easy stuff. So what I'll do now is go into bubble views. If I select the bubble view, it'll bring me into the bubble view if I hover over it. And if I go into a bubble view, you're really going to see some high resolution photogrammetry. It's not points, it's just pure photos. It's because this scan was done with a laser scanner with photogrammetry. So I can get in here and see where everything is and not get confused with the lack of detail that might be in point clouds, and see what these points of interest are. And I can see projects that have been pulled in that are currently in design phase through a Navigator file. And that's done here in our attached project. So if I select and expand attached project, I can bring in a Navigator file. I can turn number 2 off and turn number 3 off. So you can see that I've got different pipe routing scenarios with different design iterations. So I can really use this in such an environment where I can look and see how the design iterations interact with the existing facility. So there may be a better design, or maybe something that's got more of a collision capability or possibility. So you can even look in here and see that there's a model piece of pipe into an existing line with a field weld note. So it contains an image. You can see 2 welders welding a pipe and some info about the weld. We know it's a 1-inch stainless steel, 150 class butt weld. So all this information can be handed down throughout the course of the project. And if you don't want to see any of these, you can just simply turn it on or turn it off, or add an image, add additional notes. So yeah, it's really good in terms of collaboration. The good thing about bubble views, it gives us viewpoints. So if there was a complicated pipe routing throughout this area, you can get in there and really see the high level of detail from that bubble view. So you can jump from bubble view to bubble view and see what it looks like. So you got the map up there. You can navigate throughout the map in the upper right-hand corner as well. So as we navigate around the environment from point to point, we can just select the bubble view in the map. And you can see how good quality the photos are. Anyone who's done a site measure would know this would take you days to get this level of information, let alone weeks. So to go toggle back and forth, you just go bubble view and 3D view, and we're back into the laser scan. So if I want to unclip all the different noise that I clipped before, I can just select clear, and it will unclip it all. So you can see the rest of the information there. So this is an RCP file, and since we've created a project, we can bring it into our favorite CAD applications such as Revit, AutoCAD, Inventor, 3ds Max, Navisworks even. A variety of this software can bring in this scan data, or you can export it as a PTS file and import it into another application as well that supports scan data. So the options above allow you to control what to bring in for instance, you could import a scan or a bunch of scans, but if it didn't have the level of detail or you weren't interested in that data, you could simply turn that scan on and off. So if you look at these scans here, just like these scan regions, we can turn them on and off until I have a scanned area that I'm happy to work with for my particular project. As you can see, the level of detail is getting less and less as I turn it off. Yeah, I'm just going to turn it back on now. So yeah, that's our demo on ReCap Pro. I hope you found it informative, more informative with visual rather than just audio. Yeah, I've got a radio webinar if anyone's interested. Yeah, not so good with yeah, stuff like ReCap. So upcoming webinars with video and audio. Escape your project inefficiency traps, where we're going to go through some of the inefficiencies in architecture and construction workflows and how we can be more efficient. And another one is stop wasting time in Revit. This is a clarity webinar where it's an enterprise level task automation, model metrics, IT management, and BIM management tool. Many people run these third-party plugins. They type resources on their computers. This is all through a web browser with powerful reporting tools. So stay tuned for that webinar coming out as well. If anyone's interested. Yeah, not so good with yeah, stuff like ReCap. So upcoming webinars with video and audio. Escape your project inefficiency traps, where we're going to go through some of the inefficiencies in architecture and construction workflows and how we can be more efficient. And another one is stop wasting time in Revit. This is a clarity webinar where it's an enterprise level task automation, model metrics, IT management, and BIM management tool. Many people run these third-party plugins. They type resources on their computers. This is all through a web browser with powerful reporting tools. So stay tuned for that webinar coming out as well. Thank you. I'm really sorry about the technical difficulties. There was a problem between the keyboard and the chair. Someone's hands raised. All right, give me a second. Where are we? So which model of the layer? So I'm just going to I'll try to answer as many questions as I can. So which model of the laser scan was used to get that model in the presentation today? That was a Z&F laser scanner. I don't know exactly what model it was, but it was a Z&F. Faro as well also do pretty cool 3D laser scans with photogrammetry. Can 360-degree photography be used with ReCap? Well, that scanner used photography to put that together. One of the guys at CR Kennedy, they're selling lots of BLK 360 scanners. I think they're under 30 odd grand, and they'll do a scan and photos. But if you're saying I've done a laser scan without photogrammetry and I've done photos, well, yeah, you could attach it into it. It's like attaching multiple laser scans. As long as the coordinate system's accurate, you're going to get that. Are any scanners available for hire? No, we do not hire scanners. We do scanning as a service. Yeah, so thanks for the presentation. Thank you, David, for your patience. Thanks, better, but the rest so far has been a huge waste of time. Sorry, Derek. All right, any other questions? If the presentation was recorded, would it be possible to get a copy to show my boss? I will edit it, so it's a good quality one that you can show your boss. Yes, so I'll upload it again, and yeah, definitely we'll share it with everyone who registered. Does the layers translate into Revit? Do you want to elaborate on that, Troy? I mean, you can import. So what you do in Revit, you attach the Revit scan, sorry, the ReCap scan into Revit. I mean, there's no layers in Revit as far as I know in terms of scan layers. Scan region. Yes, you can attach scan regions definitely into Revit. Yes. So it's not the scan region; it's the RCP file. So if you had an RCP file with 10 scan regions and you imported that RCP file, all 10 scan regions would come in. The workflow is, let's say I want to scan region 3, you would save as, with the visibility on and off and bring that in separately. Any other questions? No. All right, if had you isolated the wall, does it come into Revit? Yeah, if you isolate the wall, it'll come into Revit as that wall. The invite mentioned using UAV imagery. That invite was misleading to you, Paul Spence. I do apologize. How can this be used with ReCap? So just like that bubble views with those photos, that's how it would be used with ReCap. So if you had a UAV and you scanned a bunch of photos, you could stitch them together into a 3D environment and then bring that into ReCap. Once it's in ReCap, you can then save it as an RCP file and then bring that into your CAD file or Navisworks, Paul. Is Point Sense now as built? Sorry, Brian, I don't understand that question. What's the best way to transfer point cloud scans given the file size? You mean transfer to other people, Trevor? Have a really good internet connection. Point cloud data is massive. RCP files are really good. If you go to A360, it's compressed. It does compress it, but they're in the hundreds of megabytes, if not gigabytes. There's no easy way around it. Yeah, there's a lot of information in the scan data. Just like a big Revit project would be in the hundreds, if not gigs. So yeah, I think Point Sense has now changed its names to Asbuilt. I don't know who Point Sense and Asbuilt are. Sorry, Brian. When sharing a file, does the receiver need an Autodesk account? Yeah, I think with the A360, they probably would. So yeah, when you share with A360, they pretty much need an A360 account. There is a free viewer that you like a web viewer that you don't need it, but I don't know if the RCP file will work with that format or that mode of transfer. So email says captured data will automatically be stitched and registered. How do you prove accurate registration? In the registration report, it would give you that data. So we didn't stitch and register because it takes a long time. I mean, that data set that you saw was about 10, maybe 7 scans. And for my computer, you know, while I was working, going back to it, it took a good hour. But there is a registration report. It's a text file that you can see to validate it. Jeremy? Yes, you can manually. So you do automatic registration or manual registration. Okay. So Jeremy uses Realworks and reports don't help with proving the accuracy. Point Sense, as builds a Faro Revit plugin used to create Revit elements from the point cloud. Okay, thanks for telling me, Ash. I'm not familiar with it personally. Sorry. If there's a question around Point Sense with ReCap, let me know and I'll ask my techs. All right. Looks like the questions have eased off. All right. Thanks, guys. If there's any more questions or queries, you've got my mobile, you've got my email address. Yeah, reach out and yeah, be more than happy to help. What is the algorithm for the auto registration? I'd have to refer that, Jeremy. I don't know. Plane to plane by shapes. Well, I mean, when you're doing scans, it's all by coordinate system. So it's registered within the scanner. So if you've got 10 scans and they're all got a coordinate system, it works it that way. I don't think it works plane to plane or by shapes as you put there, because that's more of a CAD type of practice, you know, rather than point clouds, which are X, Y, Z points in a geolocation. Okay. So Jeremy's comparing it between Realworks and ReCap. Have you got ReCap, Jeremy? Free version. Have you got? Okay, you got so you got Realworks and ReCap. Have you used both? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Jeremy uses ReCap for linking to Revit. Look, it still needs. I mean, it's a good program, but I think the ones that come with the scanners work better with the scanners, and ReCap's a good medium to bring into your CAD system, and do some minor clean up and validation. So yeah. All right, I'll wait a couple more minutes for any other questions. Still got 25 people on the line. Meanwhile, I've got these 25 people listening or not listening. What kind of other webinars would you want to see? What was the second brand of laser scanner? First was Z&F. That was the laser scanner, Z&F. There was no other brand in that demo that I'm aware of. There might have been, but Justin, I'm only aware of the Z&F. Is it a similar process for UAV scans? Is bringing in no, it's a different process, because you've got to select the photos from the UAV, Jeremy, and you've got to stitch it together. And I think it uses a cloud service to do that. You can do it locally, I think, but it does tie up your resources. It's quite intensive. I've tried it a few times. I've had mixed results. There is a way of doing it properly. I've seen some amazing things and gone, how the hell did they do that? Because I've tried some simple stuff and failed. But yeah, it's different. So Justin Sue's gone, I mentioned a second brand, Faro. Faro was the other brand of scanner. So the three major ones that I know of are Leica, Faro, and Z&F. There's other ones out there, and Maptec. Maptec are a terrestrial scanner as well. We supply Maptec scanners. They do quite long range, actually. They're quite powerful scanners. And then we've got Artec handheld scanners for your more of your product design rather than a whole building, or you want to get close in. All right. I'm going to wrap it up, guys. Thank you very much for your patience, understanding. I'm really sorry for those who were disappointed and gave negative feedback. I made an honest mistake. Sorry for wasting your time. I apologise. I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend, and I'll do a better job next time. Thanks, guys.